What is the makeup of the Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force? During a 2024 address to the nation, President Xi Jinping emphasized China's commitment to national reunification and rejuvenation, hinting at a military takeover of Taiwan. If we take Xi's rhetoric and military posturing seriously, an armed conflict over Taiwan and the surrounding region could become a reality as soon as 2027, 2028. If you're watching this, you will likely play a role in that conflict. This video, like all the other videos in my China Threat video, is designed to give an overview of China's military history, capabilities, and mindsets regards to their Air Force. This video in particular is meant to offer a brief introduction to the Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force, or PLAAF, so soldiers, sailors, airmen, marines, and guardians can better understand their future adversaries' capabilities and tactical and strategic mindsets. Like all my content, this video and its accompanying slide deck is available at ryanbeth.substack.com for paid subscribers with no ads. Look, it's $5 a month. If you don't have the $5 and you have a .mil email account, send me your email address from the .mil account. I will get you a copy of this video so you can show your sailors or Marines or airmen. And I have the slide deck at ryanbeth.substack.com as well. Just send me an email, I'll get it to you. Now, this video wasn't cheap to get off the ground. I spent some serious time and money researching this, so give me 60 seconds to pay the bills and talk about ground news. I use ground news every day to cut through the clutter and bias of news publications, and I found this one today about how Secretary Hegseth was told to stop using lie detector examinations to determine if people at the Pentagon were leaking secrets. But here's where ground news comes in. In this story, 50% of the sources reporting on the story leaned left. So if you're on the right and you don't subscribe to one of these publications, you probably didn't even see that story. Ground news is a news aggregator. It shows you who owns a publication, its average factuality rating, and whether the publication leans left, right, or center. And my favorite feature here is the blind spot report, which shows you stories you may have missed because of your own personal biases. For example, do you know that medical staff might face charges after interfering with the arrest of immigrants? If you lean left, you might not have seen that story. Or did you know that a migrant sent to an El Salvador prison by the Trump administration claims that he was beat up by guards? Well, if you lean right, you probably didn't see that story. I actually pay for ground news. They don't give it to me for free. I even got a subscription for my dad because all he does is watch cable news all day and he's really misinformed. So go to ground.news/Ryan, get 40% off the Vantage plan and start learning what you're missing. Before we begin, there are a few things I need to start with here. The PLA means People's Liberation Army. Think of it as China's designation for their military in general. And the People's Liberation Army Air Force, or PLAAF, encompasses the air forces found in the larger PLA. I can never do an exhaustive video on the PLAAF, so I encourage you to continue research after watching this video. The PLAAF was formed as a separate service on 11 November 1949 following the Chinese Communist Party's victory in the Chinese Civil War. During its early years and for much of the Mao era, the PLAAF was organizationally and doctrinally subordinate to the PLA ground forces, which focused on territorial defense and providing support for ground operations. Using Soviet-supplied MiG-15 fighters, Chinese pilots gave the fledgling PLAAF valuable combat experience during the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. In the Mao era, from the 1950s to the 1970s, the PLAAF's role was largely defensive. We're talking like coastal air defense and oriented toward protecting Northeast China. By 1955, the PLAAF had grown to the world's third largest air force, fielding first-generation aircraft such as the Shenyang, J-5, J-6, which are licensed copies of the MiG-17 and MiG-19. During the 1980s, the PLAAF remained a numerically large but pretty much technically obsolete air force, fielding equipment from like the 1950s and 1960s. We're talking the J-5s, J-6s. This technological stagnation resulted from the Sino-Soviet split, which severed Chinese access to advanced aviation technologies. China's Cultural Revolution didn't help either, with the Chinese defense industry and pilot training systems kind of stagnated for a decade. Beginning in the 1990s and prompted by the Gulf War and the Third Taiwan Strait crisis, the PLAAF embarked on a major modernization platform. The PLAAF required advanced Russian fighters, the Su-27s, Su-30s. They also developed indigenous fourth-generation fighter jets, such as the J-10, JF-17. In the early 2000s, the Chinese Communist Party directed the PLAAF to transform into a strategic air force capable of conducting all-weather, daylight, night, offensive operations, air-to-air, surface attack, strategic transport, ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, beyond China's borders. Under Xi Jinping and after 2016, PLAAF reforms accelerated and further improved joint command structures and training standards. The Chengdu J-20, or Mighty Dragon, which is China's fifth-generation stealth fighter, entered service in 2017, making China just the second country after the U.S. to field an operational stealth fighter. Quick note here, as of late May 2025, the J-35A, which is China's newest fifth-generation stealth fighter, has not yet been fully integrated into the PLAAF's active duty forces, despite widespread media coverage, testing, and serial production. Now, in 2025, the PLAAF is a modern, strategic air force capable of regional power projection and integrated joint operations with some 400,000 personnel and over 3,700 aircraft, of which 69 to 80%, depending on estimates, are considered combat aircraft. The PLAAF has evolved from a homeland defense force into one of the world's most capable air forces, able to deter, delay, defeat adversaries within and beyond the First Island chain. So with the PLAAF's history out of the way, let's talk more about the order of battle for the PLAAF. The order of battle, or ORBAT, is composed of units, formations, and fielded equipment of the military force. It also includes the strategic mindsets that color the purpose of each unit and fielded piece of equipment. The PLAAF follows a hierarchical command structure, starting with the Central Military Commission, or CMC. The Central Military Commission is the highest command authority in the PLA. It is led by, not surprising here, President Xi Jinping, who is also the chairman of the CMC. Remember, the People's Liberation Army is not the military of the People's Republic of China. It is the military of the Chinese Communist Party. So the PLAAF is the Air Force of the Chinese Communist Party. Political power sprouts from the barrel of a gun. The Central Military Commission issues campaign directives that allocate strategic level air sets such as strategic bombers, UAV forces, and it approves any cross-theater air movements. The Joint Staff Department runs the CMC Level Joint Operations Center, or JOCC, which designates operations to the theater commands, or TCs. The JSD is further organized into 15 functional sections, departments, commissions, offices, that kind of thing. The PLAAF is headquartered in Beijing under the command of General Chang Dingshu, who shares command authority with Political Commissar General Zhu Shueqiang. The headquarters provides specific functions covering force deployment, training standards, armament, R&D personnel, and global engagement. Although the PLAAF's headquarters, it doesn't retain operational control over the majority of the PLAAF, it does retain control over some units, including special mission aircraft, transport aircraft, their Airborne Corps. Now, below the PLAAF's HQ, there are 5 theater commands: Eastern Theater Command, Southern Theater Command, Western Theater Command, Northern Theater Command, and Central Theater Command. Nestled within each theater command is a corresponding Theater Command Air Force, TCAF. These TCAFs report operationally to their respective theater command headquarters and administratively to the PLAAF headquarters in Beijing. Each TCAF has subordinate bases within its jurisdiction. These bases are led by a commander and a political commissar as co-equals with 2 or more deputies. Each TCAF leader sits on the base party standing committee. TCAF bases are responsible for provincial level command and control of all aviation. We're talking surface-to-air missiles, AAA, radar, electronic warfare, and UAV units within their area of responsibility. Bases plan day-to-day training, joint service coordination, and wartime force generation for TCAFs. Subunits found on bases include 3 to 6 air brigades, multiple air defenses, meaning surface-to-air missiles and AAA, as well as radar regiments and even air station maintenance groups. During tensions and wartime, command posts, or CPs, serve as forward tactical headquarters, which mirrors the PLAN's Maritime Operations Subcenter, or MOSAC's concept, where command posts integrate in with local PLAAF aviation, air defense artillery, and radar forces for joint air defenses. Command posts report directly to the theater JOCC, bypassing its parent base under combat conditions. Air defense, and electronic warfare brigades serve as the frontline combat formation, the first echelon of force deployment. Aviation brigades fly multi-role fighters, bombers, transport, or special mission aircraft. Ground brigades operate long-range surface-to-air missiles, radar nets, or electronic warfare systems. These brigades are led by a commander and a political commissar who has many staff, political work, and support divisions. They don't have a logistics department. All those functions are co-located at the air station and maintenance group. Now, regiments are kind of considered a legacy combat headquarters for bomber, transport, and special mission aircraft, as well as for logistics, communications, surface-to-air missiles, and radar support. Fighter attack units were brigadized in 2017. Only 9 aviation divisions still keep regiments. Regiment headquarters has a staff department and a political work division only. Its support, again, is handled by the Air Station Maintenance Group on the same airfield. Subunits within the aviation regiments can include multiple flight groups. We're talking like battalion grade. Specialist companies are reserved for support regiments. Flight groups are battalion grade tactical elements that plan and fly daily missions and training. Flight groups are led by the flight group commander and his co-equal political commissar. The PLAAF battalion grade units have no staff departments. Flight groups exist under both brigades and regiments. The PLAAF treats the squadron, which is considered 2 to 5 aircraft, at least in the Chinese system, as the basic fighter unit. Flight groups are often composed of several flight squadrons, which are kind of like company grade assets, and additional small line maintenance slices. A flight squadron is the most basic fighting unit within the PLAAF. It executes sorties, it conducts line maintenance, it performs tactical elements. So we're talking single ship, 2 ship, 4 ship, whatever. Single squadron leadership is led by a squadron commander and their co-equal, a political instructor. No subordinate departments exist. 2 or 3 squadrons constitute a single flight group. 3 flight groups, around 24 aircraft, form a brigade or legacy aviation regiment. The PLAAF is organized into several distinct branches and specialized forces within a defined operational focus. These elements are formally recognized within the PLAAF's organizational framework and have evolved significantly following major reforms of 2007 and 2016 to 2017. The aviation force is the core combat arm of the PLAAF, responsible for operating multi-role fighters, bombers, transport, and special mission aircraft. Following structural reforms in 2017, most fighter and attack aircraft were reorganized into aviation brigades under aviation-based commands. Longer-range platforms such as bombers, transports, they remain organized into divisions directly subordinate to higher echelons. The Airborne Force, officially known as the Airborne Corps, and more on this one later, serves as the PLA's Rapid Strategic Reaction and Airborne Insertion Unit. Following its 2017 restructuring, The Airborne Corps consists of 6 brigades, 1 Special Operations Brigade, 1 Air Assault Brigade, 1 Air Transport Brigade, a helicopter regiment which reports to the Transport Brigade, and a dedicated training base. Now, the Ground-to-Air Missile Force, or Air Defense Branch, was established in 2007 through the merger of former surface-to-air missile and anti-aircraft artillery units. The branch commands all ground-based air defense systems. It oversees long-range surface-to-air missile brigades and battalions across TCAF jurisdictions. Legacy AAA, or air defense artillery units, have largely been phased out in favor of modern missile systems. The Radar Force operates China's network of fixed and mobile air surveillance and early warning radar systems. These units report to theater-level base commands and support both offensive and defensive air operations by providing real-time detection, tracking, and targeting data. Radar brigades are composed of subordinate radar battalions and company-level stations. The Electronic Countermeasures Force was elevated to a formal branch status in the early 2010s. The ECM force is tasked with electromagnetic spectrum operations, including jamming hostile radar communications and targeting systems. Units within the ECM force are organized into brigades and regiments that support integrated air defense and strike missions. The Communications Force serves as a specialized force supporting the PLAAF's command and control infrastructure across all echelons. While not officially designated as a separate branch within the PLAAF, the Communications Force plays a critical role in establishing secure, redundant, and real-time communications across the PLAAF's theater and base-level organizations. Now, combat support units are non-branch aligned support units. They're responsible for logistics, equipment, maintenance, airborne services, airfield services, fuel supply, and technical support. These units are essential to sustaining daily operations and enabling force generation during wartime. There's also research, training, and academic institutions. These include the Air Force Research Academy, pilot training bases, academic institutions such as the Air Force Command College. These support ongoing development of doctrine, technology, and personnel through research and development, professional military education, and operational education. Now, back to this airborne force. The PLAAF's airborne force is headquartered in Zhongnan, Hubei province, central China, north of Wuhan. The Airborne Corps is directly subordinate to the PLAAF's headquarters in Beijing, not to the regional theater command air forces. The Airborne Corps is considered a national-level rapid reaction force, and it's not permanently assigned to any single theater command. Instead, it can be deployed across TCAFs as needed. The PLAAF's Airborne Corps consists of about 40,000 personnel. It's organized as of 2025 into 6 airborne combined arms brigades: mechanized, light motorized, 1 air assault brigade, 1 special operations brigade, 1 operational support brigade, and 1 aviation transport brigade, as well as 1 training base and brigade. The Airborne Corps uses modern air-droppable infantry fighting vehicles, wheeled and tracked armored vehicles, and a growing fleet of helicopters and fixed-wing transports, such as the Y-20. The Airborne Corps is China's primary rapid reaction force. They are able to deploy anywhere and quickly, or to frontline theaters as part of a strategic reserve. It's designed for airborne assault and infiltration, air mobile and helicopter-borne operations, long-range penetration and deep operation behind enemy lines, special operations and sabotage, seizing and holding key terrain, bridges, airfields, choke points, things like that, blocking enemy retreats or enforcements, raids on strategic targets, and also disaster relief and domestic security missions. The Airborne Corps is expected to play a major role in island landing campaigns such as the Taiwan scenario, conducting paradrop or air assault operations to seize and hold critical objectives in the enemy's rear, and supporting amphibious and ground operations. It has transitioned from light infantry to this combined arms force integrating various mechanized air assault artillery, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and support elements at the brigade level. The Airborne Corps maintains a very high readiness with focus on realistic, sophisticated training and rapid deployment. It is a key component of China's strategic deterrence and rapid intervention capabilities. While the Airborne Corps is not permanently assigned to any single TCAF, it is centrally controlled. It can be rapidly deployed to reinforce any theater command as required by national level strategic needs. Traditionally, the Airborne Corps has been associated with the Central Theater Command for administrative and strategic reserve purposes. However, Airborne Corps elements can be detached, sent to other theater commands for exercises and operations. Theater Command Air Forces command between roughly 6 and 8 subordinate flying bases. Each TCAF commands around 350 to 450 combat aircraft, and each base within the TCAF has around 2 or 3 subordinate aviation brigades. So we're totaling around 60 to 90 aircraft. Each aviation brigade commands 2 or 3 flight groups, or around 24 or 30 aircraft. Flight groups, remember, consist of at least 2 squadrons with around 10 to 12 aircraft total. Squadrons, which is the smallest fighting unit within the PLAAF, have up to 5 aircraft at their disposal. Now, within the PLAAF, there are 5 theater commands: Eastern Theater Command, Southern Theater Command, Western Theater Command, Northern Theater Command, and Central Theater Command. The Eastern Theater Command Air Force is optimized for operations over the Taiwan Strait and within the East China Sea, its focus being on air superiority, maritime strike, and joint fires. Its units field a mixture of 5th generation, so we're talking J-20, 4.5 generation such as J-16, J-10, and 4th generation such as J-11B fighters. Modern bombers such as the H-6K and special mission aircraft are included as well. They're all equipped with sophisticated missile and munition suites for air-to-air and air-to-ground operations. In total, the Eastern Theater Command's Air Force consists of 3,000 to 4,000 personnel and 500 to 600 aircraft. Now, the Southern Theater Command's Air Force is geared around air superiority, maritime strikes, and joint operations in the South China Sea. We're talking mainland Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Laos. Within this TCAF is a mixture of advanced stealth fighters like the J-20, plus multi-role aircraft like the J-16, Su-35 as well, and bombers like the H-6Ks, as well as special mission aircraft like the GJ-2, WZ-7 UAVs. All are equipped with modern missiles, precision-guided munitions, and air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles for air-to-air and air-to-surface warfare. This TCAF commands around 3,500 to 40,000 personnel and has around 500 to 600 aircraft at its disposal. The Western Theater Command is built for high-altitude, long-range, and multi-domain operations across Tibet, Xinjiang, and Chinese Western high-altitude borders. Units within this TCAF, much like we've discussed before, field advanced fighters, multi-role aircraft, and UAVs equipped with modern air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles, as well as precision-guided munitions. This TCAF has been optimized by the PLAAF for serious border defense, rapid response, and joint operations within some of the most brutal and challenging terrain in the world. The Western Theater Command has about 28,000 to 32,000 personnel and some 350 to 450 aircraft. The Northern Theater Command Air Force commands around 38,000 to 42,000 personnel. Some 600 to 700 aircraft can be called on here too. This TCAF is responsible for air defense, maritime strikes, and rapid response across Northeast China, the Yellow Sea, and the Korean Peninsula. The Northern Theater Command Air Force fields a large, modernized force of advanced fighters, multi-role bombers, and special mission aircraft. There's also a strong focus on air superiority, maritime introduction, and joint operations within the North Sea Fleet and Rocket Force. Finally, we have the Central Theater Command Air Force. This has about 32,000 to 36,000 personnel, between 450 and 500 aircraft. This TCAF serves as the PLAAF Strategic Reserves and Capital Defense Force with a focus on air defense, rapid enforcement, and national level command and control. Its units include advanced fighters, bombers, and heavy transports like the Y-20, YY-20, and special mission aircraft supporting operational and strategic missions across China. Across all of its theaters, the PLAAF has demonstrated enhanced joint operations. We're talking air-to-ground integration, global reach, advanced fighters, J-20, J-16, J-10C, bombers like the H-6Ks, and as well as airborne warning and control aircraft like the KJ-500s, as well as tankers like the YY-20s, and massive, highly coordinated exercises for testing air superiority, testing maritime strikes, close air support, and long-range expeditionary operations, reflecting the PLAAF's transformation from a coastal defense force to a modern, agile, and globally relevant air force. This is no paper tiger. The PLAAF is a tiger that has some serious teeth and claws. The PLAAF, in keeping up as a modern air force, has developed and deployed numerous UAS and UAV platforms, including medium-altitude, long-endurance UCAVs for real-time ISR, and even high-altitude ISR platforms for high-altitude places like Tibet. Future systems include exploring and or developing drone motherships, UAV swarms, hypersonic UAVs, and civil military logistics UAVs. The next big fight is going to be with China. Knowing how our adversaries tick allows us to tailor our responses to these adversarial forces and ensure our forces remain relevant to the possible threats within the military environment. Understanding the PLAAF is no longer academic. It's imperative for warfighting. Prepare accordingly. Remember, if you have a .mil address, you want to copy this video to show your soldiers or airmen without ads, send me an email. I will get you an offline copy. I only ask for credit. If you want to see more videos like this one, like on the People's Liberation Army Rocket Force, let me know in the comments below. Consider supporting me over on Substack, $5 a month, ryanbeth.substack.com. You get a lot of great content there. And special thanks to Dr. Mulvaney, the director of the China Aerospace Studies Institute, who proofread this video. Thank you so much for watching.
It's me, Captain Bannon of the documentary Team Yankee. When I'm not kicking commie butts, I'm wearing t-shirts from Ryan Macbeth, available at Bunker Branding, Knife Hands, HIMARS, Landmines, Patriot, and even my favorite, the TOW missile. Mushna, we want t-shirt too! Take a hike, commie! So come on down to Bunker Branding and take a stand for what's really important about America. Capitalism!